Good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you
How
this
you
morning,
doing?
Rodney?
Always
I'm doing
wonderful.
good.
It's Monday. It is Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. The start of a new week.
Yes,
That's a
ma'am.
good
Yes,
thing.
ma'am. That is an
Yeah.
excellent thing. We have had a nice weekend. The rain has kind of subsided here in Riverside. It all went away, so things are a little bit better. I think things are kind of starting to dry out, and I think everybody's getting the summer bug. I think everybody's ready.
I think so. But, California had a lot of snow.
It's
Did you get a lot of
incredible.
snow?
God's grace, man. I tell you, it's funny. Near me, probably about, I'd say 8 miles away, there's a little mountain range off the 15
Mhm.
freeway, and they were snow capped. And it's really beautiful. I had to take a little drive, and you get to see these things, and it's
Mhm.
very strange seeing snow here in Southern California, but it's really, really beautiful. But the big thing is we had a huge water deficit. I mean, there was terrible, terrible, terrible drought. Poof, Lord says, no problem. Pow, snow. And so
And there it went with all
they were
that
talking.
snow. Right.
I'm telling you, he'd made it lickety split. No problem. Just like that, problem gone.
Listen, that is the most effective way to raise the water levels is to give you, several feet of snow.
Well,
That's
we got
great.
it. And up in Big Bear, they said there was like 8 or 9 or 10 feet that fell. And so I have a
Oh,
dear
wow.
friend of mine that lived there, and he says when it snows, it really snows. I mean, it comes on hard. So I mean, that's where they have the ski resort and all that good stuff. But it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure they're grateful for it, especially at a ski resort.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, no, this was overkill because
Oh,
people couldn't even get in to get to the ski resort. So that's what
oh,
made it.
well.
And they started having little problems with, snow slides and things like
Mhm.
that. So kind of little, it was quite treacherous. And then
Yeah,
people couldn't get food and things, but God bless them. Hopefully things are
yeah.
starting to kind of thaw out now.
Well, spring here in the South always means we get some big storms, and that's what we
Yeah.
got last week. While you were getting the snow, we were getting big storms.
Wow. A lot of rain,
So,
thunderstorms.
lots and lots of rain, but, we had a system push through
Mm-hmm.
on Friday, I think it was. In 5 minutes, it began and was over pretty much, but
Mm-hmm.
it swept through here at 80 miles per hour.
Wow, that was fast.
That was very fast, and the winds came along with it just like that. So we did have some trees down in places and a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
damage and other it was almost like hurricane force winds for
Wow.
about 5 minutes. Yeah, it was crazy.
Amazing.
So,
Well,
and Carrie, let's greet our viewers this morning. Hey, Carrie and
mhm,
Jacqueline, and I saw let's see, who is that? Blues 01 Clue.
mhm.
Sure, I've met you before, but greetings. Glad you're here.
All right.
So, yeah, and Carrie says, I still want to live in the place behind Rodney's head.
Oh, hey, there you go. Yes. Well, we have a lot of beautiful, beautiful places here. I just kind of put that on as a little backdrop, but yeah, hopefully we will get to everyone will get an opportunity to travel. It's a blessing to really to be able to travel and see new things and and I guess well today's topic is blessing your enemies. That's a
Yeah.
incredible topic for the day.
Hmm.
A lot
And
of times, go ahead.
hey, Blues. Can I just shorten it to Blues? Is that okay? Um, yes. I think this is a particularly appropriate topic for this month because this month
Mhm.
we tend
Yeah.
to think of St. Patrick's Day
Oh,
and,
yes, that's
the
right.
Irish, the luck of the Irish and everything. And there is a story
Mhm.
about a true story, apparently, about St. Patrick that makes this
Okay.
topic very appropriate. And that story is this: when he was a young man, I think he actually lived in England, near the coast of
Mhm.
England. And when he was a young man, he was kidnapped and
Wow.
taken to Ireland and made a slave.
Wow.
And he
Okay.
was there, yeah, he was there for 10 years as a slave. He escaped, went back
Mhm.
home, but it was through that process, that experience, that God became real to him. And once he got back home, he studied, and he turned around and incredibly went back to Ireland to tell the people in Ireland, the very people who had enslaved him, about Jesus. And
That's
now
pretty
he's the
incredible.
patron saint of Ireland.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. And it's hard to think that how do you be nice to someone who isn't so nice to you? And I'm telling you, that is one of the toughest things, to not lash out and to kind of return, evil with evil. And so, you are as an individual, everybody has feelings, and everybody's like, that wasn't right, but at the same time, we have to kind of separate ourselves and say, how will we do this? And of course, we can't be, um, allow extreme abuse in any way. But a lot of times, the little things that most people really get agitated about, you can just kind of bite your tongue, let it go. And I think that, especially in the world that we live in today, de-escalation is one of the best answers to a lot of situations. And a lot of times people get really, really heated. Everybody's got an opinion, everybody has a reason for their opinion, but at the same time, does that make the situation at hand better?
Mhm.
you know
Mhm. I think
so
you're right. And a lot of times we can de-escalate with some humor. Yes,
Mhm.
Jacqueline, I agree with you. When we do bless and they really are impressed and doors open for a witness.
Mhm.
I think about a book I read years ago, and I wish I could
Mhm.
remember this woman's name, but
Mhm.
she and her husband were missionaries
Wow.
in someplace in Asia
Mhm.
during when World War II broke out.
Okay.
She and her husband were captured by the Japanese, sent to a prison camp in the Philippines,
Ooh.
and separated. They were sent to different prison camps. He ended up dying in the camp, and she got word while she was there that her
Mhm.
husband had died. She herself nearly died from
Mhm.
starvation and abuse because it was
Mhm.
a work camp.
Yeah.
But several times, the commander of the camp, the Japanese commander of the camp, called her into his office, trying
Mhm.
to see if she had information, and trying to break her. But he kept calling her back in because he didn't understand how
Why?
she could be so respectful to him, and how she could
Wow.
witness to him, telling him that she cared about him when he knew, what she'd been suffering. And of course, he kind of poo-pooed her religion and, well, but look where you are. Your God doesn't love you very much. And she's like,
Mm.
yeah, but the day is coming when he will judge all things.
That's right.
And
That's right.
and I don't want you to be standing before him and hear his judgment because you didn't accept his mercy.
Mhm. Wow.
So, and at the very end, just when the Japanese knew that the Americans were near and they were about to take the Philippines back, he called her in
Mhm.
one last time, and he came like that close to accepting Christ. And she always
Wow.
hoped that later he would, and later he was
Mhm.
executed for his crimes
Wow. Yeah,
against the
well,
prisoners.
yeah,
So,
those are those things that it's amazing, over the whole history of the world, we have so many things, and it says he is with us always. He loves us, but one day he will end all evil, not us. That's true. Thank you, Knight.
that's true. That is, I was just reading in Romans 12 this morning,
Hmm.
and I particularly appreciate that you said that, because Romans 12, and this is from the King James. I know it sounds a little archaic, but I
Hmm.
kind of like the wording here. Bless them which persecute you,
Hmm.
bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward not things, but condescend to men of low estate.
Hmm.
Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil.
Yeah.
Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all
Mhm.
men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it
Mhm.
is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him.
Mhm.
If he thirst, give him drink, for in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with
That's
good.
good. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And you
one of
know,
the go ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was just saying one of the greatest, examples and just pure proof of forgiveness was when Jesus was on the cross, and that's when Jesus said, "Father, forgive them; they know not what they do." And I think that people, and it's really scary because when you start thinking about it, what really is driving you to have that anger? And really, you have to say, you have to catch yourself and say, am I being driven by the devil? Am I literally being prompted to go at this person in a bad way, or be not in the right frame of mind? That gives you kind of, a lot of times, and some people go, oh, devil schmevel, there's no such thing as a devil. And I'm like, really? I'm like,
Mhm.
you better believe there's a devil. And and that's the thing that a lot of people forget, that this we really do wrestle against principalities and rulers and high places and wickedness. I mean, serious wickedness. And
Mhm.
so we have to say, we have to be aware. We really need to
Mhm.
be aware of what we're doing, what we're saying, how we're presenting ourselves, and how we're dealing with. And when someone sees you, and a lot of times, be forewarned, Christian. A lot of times, people will love to push your button because they know that you are a Christian and they want to test you. And they just, and I've seen it, I've heard it, been a victim of it myself. So you have to kind of like, you really have to hold on tight and always know that how we respond in a lot of ways, there are people watching and listening, and they can be witnessed through. And people will, that person on a job that seems to be picked on and stuff like that, it's not good. It really isn't good. But when they see a person be able to maintain their composure or not be a part of those jokes and things like that, they can say, okay, wow, that person is different, and we have to be set apart.
I think that's the thing. The Bible says they'll know we are Christians by our love.
That's right.
God says we'll be known by our fruit, which hopefully is love,
Yeah.
because the love of God has been cast abroad in our hearts. And that's the thing. It's not, we aren't capable of that kind of love in and of
No.
ourselves.
No, no.
So we can try really hard, but all we're going to end up with is
Mhm.
people seeing how hard we're trying to love
Right.
them and be nice.
Yeah, right.
When the truth of the matter is, they know that that's not real in our hearts.
That's right. And we don't
Yeah.
have to try, we just do. If we let the Lord just really come out, and the deeper we dig in the Lord and the scriptures, and have that
Yes.
real understanding and really live it out, not just talk it, but we got to live it day by day. Really just like lifting weights. The more you lift weights, the stronger you're going to get, and the key
Mhm.
thing is, how do I live this out daily? And we have to take
Mhm.
up our cross daily and be prepared. And so, starting the day in prayer and ending the day in prayer, that's always a good bet, because uh, you can go into the morning and go into the day prepared and say, hey, Lord, protect me. And, of course, you want safe travels, and you just want to have a productive, safe day. And all we need to do is ask. All we need to
Mhm.
do is ask.
The Bible talks a lot about discipline, about
Hmm.
disciplining ourselves, and it
Hmm.
uses a metaphor like a gymnast,
Yeah.
in a gym who, if I got down here right now and tried to do a cartwheel, y'all would be laughing your heads off,
Hey.
because it wouldn't even look like a cartwheel. I'm not even sure I could get my feet up in the air.
Wow.
But those people who have practiced,
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can do it without even thinking about it. And because their muscles are fit to do
Right.
that means they can do other things too,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes faster and easier, even the first time they do it,
I
because
remember
that's
being
what discipline does for you.
I remember being a kid. I used to do cartwheels all the time just for the heck of it, just being a crazy kid. Boy, I was somewhere near a park. I was on grass, and I said, I haven't done a cartwheel in years. Oh God, I,
Did
I,
you?
boy, that was rough. It was rough. I was like, man, how did I do this as a kid? But I mean, but you gotta stay. We gotta stay fit and
It's true,
strong. And
it's true, yeah, as kids, we're
never,
always running around and playing, we're always exercising those muscles, and they're always growing. As adults, we get more sedentary, and we're not exercising that. But
yeah,
think about the spiritual disciplines,
yeah,
that
yeah.
we could be and should be doing, and I know there are
Mm-hmm.
some that seem obvious to us, like, "Well, I need to read my Bible more, I should pray more."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, I believe I read a book a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot remember the name of the man who wrote it, but I mean, he lived centuries ago, and he wrote a book called Practicing the Presence of Jesus.
Wow, it's
Because the
beautiful.
fact is, he is present all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And if he lives in your heart, if you have the Holy Spirit, then he is inside you continually. But you know what? Our brains forget that.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we literally have to practice
Mhm,
recognizing that he's here.
mhm. That's true.
And so asking him for having that continual running conversation with him, that's what I think of when I think of the pray without ceasing,
Right, right.
is literally that running conversation all the way through the day with
Mhm.
the Lord, asking him for help, asking him for guidance, um,
Yes,
you know, rejoicing with him even,
that's right.
laughing, oh, or just praising him or telling him, how beautiful this world is, or Lord, this
Mhm,
orange juice tasted so good this morning.
mhm.
Thank you for giving me taste buds to appreciate it. And thank you for making orange juice with this amazing flavor, you
Yeah,
know?
lot to be
Yeah. So
thankful for.
Night Toking says God's heart is broken every second. A broken heart is actually a good thing.
Mm.
It means you have one.
That's right. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
You have to stay engaged into your feelings and the feelings of others. I think
Mhm.
that in living our lives, and keeping in mind our fellow man, that's what it's all about, because some days it's just a little smile, it's a thank you, it's a some little
Mhm.
bit of appreciation. People go, wow, people do still have a heart, and you see
Yeah.
these wonderful things where people pass on some act of kindness, and if it's not just, someone says bless you, you hear someone sneeze and someone say bless you, and you think like, wow, you know, it's nice to it's nice to be blessed, by
Mhm.
someone, and
Yeah.
you want to make sure that, you're passing it on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, loving our enemies, what does that look like, Rodney?
Wow.
How do we do that? Do you have any enemies?
I tell you, I try not to, but the thing is, you how does life look loving your enemies? I think you really have to put yourself out there and say, how would I want to be treated? You know,
Mm,
you put yourself out there and say, would I want to be misunderstood? Would I want to be prejudged? Would I want to do that? Would I want someone doing that to me? And then, of course, you got to base it all on the scriptures. If you follow the
mhm.
word, I think you're going to be, it's a sure bet that you're going to be doing things a lot better than just kind of going out of your head.
Here's something that Jacqueline said.
Hmm.
Jacqueline Edwards in our comments, she said, think about how
Mm.
Jesus dealt with Judas.
Wow.
Ooh, Judas
Yeah.
was with him for 3 years, and Jesus knew,
Yeah. That's
you know,
that's sad. Yeah. As a
and
matter of fact.
still included him, still loved him, still, you know. And the thing is, I feel like I don't have
Hmm.
any enemies.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone else as my enemy. You probably
No.
would say
No.
the same thing, and maybe a lot of you
True.
out there would too.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other people who consider themselves our enemies because they think of us
Mm-hmm.
as the enemy.
Love
So
your
there's the
neighbor.
question, yeah, how are we going to do that?
Right.
How do
And
we
I mean,
love the people who persecute us, the people who,
wow.
know what you stand for and are opposed to that? How are
You
you going to
know,
love them?
you really have to stay in prayer. You really, really have to stay in prayer because I'm telling you, the weapons that we have are supernatural. Hate and people's comments and stuff, that's so carnal, it's so human and so emotional. The reality of it is, if we live out the scriptures and really stay glued to those facts, stay glued to the word, that's going to make the whole difference, because that's how you live out being able to bless people. And again, one of my things is I just really I keep my prayer out to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, please keep those type of people away from me. Keep a hedge of angels around me and my fans and my friends and people and co-workers, just my community. Just keep all of the negativity and the bad people away. And I'm confident to believe that the Lord has plenty of angels to be able to be dispatched to take care of us and people that we don't know. Not only praying for ourselves, but to pray for others, pray for other communities that are in trauma and going through things. And I think a
Yes.
lot of times we spend a lot of times praying for ourselves when we really should be praying for others as well, and praying for other communities and people who don't have the blessings that we have. I mean, the freedoms and the
Mhm.
opportunities that we have. America's is the greatest place in the world, and a lot of people beg to differ by the way things are going these days. However, we're still in a good space compared to a lot of
A
places
lot
in the
of
world.
places. Yeah, we
Hmm.
really are. But
Yeah.
there's something that you just said, Rodney. I think there is a time for us to say, Lord, put a hedge around me and protect me. And a
Daily.
lot of times that time is when we need time to heal. Just like
Hmm.
St. Patrick, he had spent all those years in captivity, having been
Hmm.
snatched from his family. They probably didn't even know whether he was alive or dead, what happened to him.
Yeah.
And all this time that he's been enslaved, when he finally escapes, and it was fine that he escaped, that was a
Hmm.
good thing. But he goes back home, and I'm sure then he was like, God, protect me from anybody else snatching me away, etc.
Hmm.
But he's studying the word, and all that time he's healing.
That's right.
He's healing from the experience to the point that rather than looking at his captors as those awful people, I can't stand those Irish, and I never want to hear about them again. And
Hmm.
and he could have actually said, I want to go burn their town to the ground.
Right.
Look what they did to me. But instead, he began to see them as people who were needy because
Right.
they didn't have Jesus. They
Yeah.
didn't have that peace. They didn't know.
Hmm.
And so he was saying to himself, yes, I see them. They're not my enemies anymore.
Hmm.
They made themselves my enemies.
Hmm.
They saw
True.
me in a way as an enemy, but I don't have to see them as an enemy anymore. And he chose to go back and run the risk
Hmm.
of being in that same place again.
Wow.
Now, maybe he took some kind of protection with him. I don't know. But the very
Hmm.
fact that he would even go back and
Yeah.
preach the gospel to them is amazing.
Yeah. And again, a big, God bless you and so much more to all the missionaries all around the world who are out there taking the word of God to places, some of the most
Yeah.
dangerous places around the world. And they're doing the Great Commission. They're out there
Mhm.
winning souls, sharing the gospel, and really living a very rough and dangerous life. A lot of people who are out there, the missionaries, God bless them, and we need to keep them in prayer and their families. There are whole families out doing missionary work. And it's amazing the little things that, I mean, people here, we're in the United States, and people have just they have a hang up just praying for someone that they see in need at who's someone down on their luck. And here it is. There are people who are literally in the battlefield. They are literally in battlefields witnessing to people. That's a
Mhm.
huge difference between, I mean, shame on us for not daily looking for someone every day to uplift and to pray for and stuff like that. I mean,
Mhm.
that's serious. That's serious business. Serious
Yeah.
business.
It also makes me think of, have you heard of Elizabeth Elliot? Do you know who she is?
I've heard the name. Share, please share.
Yeah, she wrote many, many books, but
Hmm.
I think at least initially, part of the reason that people even picked up her books and were willing to read them at the
Hmm.
first anyway, was
Hmm.
because she had been the wife of Jim Elliot, who was one of four missionaries who had gone to Ecuador, I think it
Hmm.
was, and those missionaries were killed by the very people they went to take the gospel to.
Yeah.
So, you know what she did? She
She
went down
probably
there
went
in his
there.
place and
Yeah.
preached the gospel to the same people, and the same
Wow.
people got saved, and the whole
Amazing.
village got saved.
Amazing.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so now, when she writes a book, it's like, oh, I want to know what she has to say, because she's lived
Yeah.
it. And I want to know
That's
how
right.
she did that. So she wrote, but then as she's writing these books, people
Hmm.
realize, oh my, she's saying some very profound things here. She's telling us some
Yeah.
things out of the Word of God and who God is that is just blowing my mind. So
That's
she
right.
became a very prolific author, and a lot
I
of
can
people were
imagine.
uh, reading her books,
Hmm.
and I was one of them, and very moved by it. She passed away just a couple of years ago,
Mm.
but yeah, had a big influence on a lot of people, in
Yeah.
part because she knew how to love her enemies.
Could you imagine the reception, to go to heaven and knowing that, I just, sometimes it gives me goosebumps just thinking about, some of these people who have passed on, and, you hear the soul winning and the things that they've done. And you just like, wow, what must it be like to go to heaven? And they say, you made it, and it's like a huge celebration, homecoming, and just, wow. It really, I mean, it gives you something really to
Yeah.
strive for, something to look forward to, And a lot of times people, when you think about life and you think about death, sometimes, like I said, I lost my mama, and I started thinking, I said, man, mom's up there with granddaddy and grandmama. And I just start, and you think about what must it feel like to be that close and just to feel that glory and just be, at peace with no problems, no worries, everything. And I'm just like, wow, you know,
And just
amazing.
think, the scripture tells us that all of heaven rejoices every time a sinner repents and comes to
Yeah,
the Lord.
it must
And
be
and the Bible talks about God dancing with
yeah.
joy over us because he loves us so much. Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that beautiful face, man, just to be able to just, to be able to
Mhm.
take in that. And, of course, you know, just knowing that that is everlasting to everlasting and never end,
Yes.
and you definitely
Yes.
don't want the contrary of that.
Yes, and, like you said, it never ends, but that means it's going on right now.
That's right.
It's going on right now for us. When we practice the presence of God, when we
Hmm.
recognize that same God who is dancing and rejoicing over us is here with us right now
That's
and
right.
lives with us right now, and the same power that raised Jesus up from the dead is available to us
Right.
to
That's
forgive
beautiful.
people, to love people in a
Yep.
way that we aren't able to on our
It's
own.
wonderful. And the
It's amazing.
intercession and people praying for us. And I mean, like I said, and so make sure you pray for somebody today, your loved one, a stranger, a friend. Praying for you. And you know what? God bless you. This is the This Way Network. It's been a chat session. We got less than a minute left. So, Nina, I'll let you close it out.
Y'all, be of good courage. We are not alone because God is with us.